the idea is May 29th at now 8 p.m. So originally it was going to be 7 p.m. and I realized once I actually put it into the countdown thing online that with daily savings time, that will not work. So our event will probably start at 7 p.m. but 8 p.m. I'm going to need that extra hour. So 8 p.m. will be Chris. I know this isn't true for everyone, but since I was 10, I've always known what I wanted to do with my life. I grew up watching movies like Back to the Future, and Indiana Jones, and Star Wars, and then as I got older, like movies like Lord of the Rings, and I was like, holy cow, that is exactly what I want to do. I want to make stuff like that. I want to make people feel what I'm feeling right now. And from that point forward, that's all I did. I studied, I watched behind the scenes, I read books, I got magazines, most importantly I feel, as I made stuff. I got a camera, a VHS camera, and I just started making stuff with my brothers. So what we want to do is we want to find a cheaper way to make a movie. And that means that we got to go someplace where rents are lower, people are hungry and dedicated to making cool stuff, and they don't get to do it every day for their jobs. What I want to do is basically take my New York City rent money for 3 months and make a movie. So in 2015, I moved to New York City with 2 bags and a one-way ticket. I showed up and my dreams were to make movies. And I started working on whatever film sets I could get on. So TV shows, movies, commercials. I started out as a production assistant, even though my experience was directing and producing, and I owned my own production company in South Carolina before I moved. Showing up there, I didn't know anybody. As time goes on, I was really pushing so that I could be a director. That was the big dream, right? So I saw a career path. You know, I studied a lot of directors and how they've made films, how they were able to make it as a director. And there's a handful of people who were successful first in commercials. And sure enough, I started talking to some people and had made some really great friends and allies that taught me all about advertising, taught me all about that world. And there's such an art form to making commercials. It's not as easy as it seems on face value. So along the way, I started coming up with a theory. What if I could just make a feature film? And think of it, take that same spec commercial type mentality. What if I could use what I have and make an entire 90-minute feature film that proves that we can make something fun, something entertaining, engaging, characters that we like. But it's the whole package. People will sit down, they'll grab their bucket of popcorn and they'll pay whatever it is, $5 to watch it at the theater, or they'll pay the $1.99 down the road to watch it online, or somehow like get a distribution deal and get on Netflix or Hulu or some other streaming service. So my mind became, can we make it for what I have? And that's where I really started to have to evaluate. What do I have? I'm working. I'm just like all of you folks out there, you're trying to figure out how can I, if I want to make a film, how could I do it? And it's just stop and take a look around. What do you have right now? Now, I had the privilege of having some really good work at the end of the year, which gave me a little bit of financial flexibility. What if I wasn't spending that money? What if I took all of my New York City rent money and made a movie with that? So that gave me a budget of about $10,000 cash that I could take and put that as towards hard costs, towards making the movie. We have 100 days to make a movie. Whew, that means we're gonna write it, we're going to build a crew of volunteers. We're going to shoot it, and then we're going to edit it and do all the visual effects, sound design, coloring, music. And then on day 100, we're going to premiere it in a theater with real people watching it, and hopefully I'll still be alive by then. Some of you have already noticed and pointed out to me that there's a discrepancy in that trailer, right? Like, I just heard him say March. Like, did you hear him say March? He said March, right? It does say March, but it's May 29th. So.
May 29th.
May 29th.
May 29th be with you.
May 29th!
This is one of those deals where we had to go before we were ready, and we had to launch, and we were right up against the timeline. We got the voiceover back, and it was wrong, and we didn't have time to redo it, and we had to launch the video in the next like 30 minutes, so it's wrong. I will say, if you're watching this and you're looking for a masterclass on how to make a film in 100 days, this is probably not it, because if you do what I do, it's not gonna work. You've got to be able to come up with a plan that works for you. I'm already tired and we barely started, so. Oh, and did I mention that I'm gonna do this? Oh, and by the way, did I also mention that we're gonna do this entire thing on YouTube, that we're going to film the entire process. We're gonna be as transparent as possible and give you the front row access to watch us try to do this entire project from beginning to end, all of the mess ups, all of the gaffes, but also you get to come along with me on all the victories. You get to walk the red carpet with me at the end. So I hope that you'll come along. I love your support. And let me take a minute at this point to say we're doing this thing from scratch. So if you haven't already, consider subscribing and ring that bell so you get notified.